Hello and welcome to Non-Stop Wrestling Chat. My name is Barry and this is week number 15 of Fantasy Booking. Guys, I want to thank you for all the support doing this Fantasy Booking. I didn't think I would be at week number 15. Honestly, I thought I would have probably gave up week 2, week 3. But there's been a lot of good feedback with these kind of Fantasy Booking shows, and also it's been really good feedback. There's been people that have been chatting to you on Twitter and Instagram, just kind of back and forth, YouTube as well, and it's been really, really fun. So thanks for all the support, guys. Obviously, don't forget to hit subscribe because we're on that road to 200 subscribers. And yeah, let's get into today's show. So obviously, I'm here with my broken book. So we're going to kick off with Raw. So this week, guys, what I want to let you know is we're continuing round number 2 of the Women's Championship, but unfortunately, I totally forgot that one of them would have to be a triple threat match because of the way it works out. But if the way the rounds work, it has to be a triple threat. So I've done the triple threat in SmackDown, so then we'll get we find out the finalists next week, and then the final will be booked for SummerSlam. To crown the new Women's IC Champion. But anyway, Raw kicks off with a recap of what happened last week in round number 1. Then a rundown of the Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai, kind of what's going on there. So then we get round 2 kicking off, Mandy Rhodes versus Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross gets the win. Then we get the actual men's IC title, Keith Lee versus Apollo Crews. Crews gets the win with a DQ. Keith Lee gets on the mic and says, "Get back in here, you stupid little bitch, you can't run away, blah blah blah." Crews comes back in, goes face to face, but Kofi Kingston hits Keith Lee from the back, and because obviously they had a match last week, so they're in the ring, they're there. Then Crews says, "I don't need your help to take on Keith Lee," but Kofi says, "Yeah, but I need your belt." He attacks Apollo, does a little bit. Keith Lee gets up, he gets both of them down, knocked out. He stands tall with the belt, he throws the belt down, picks up the Money in the Bank briefcase and says, "I've got more important things to be worrying about other than these." So what I want to kind of do here is, I don't know whether to give Keith Lee the belt or just keep him with the Money in the Bank, because what I was going to do is, because the matches are, because it's a unified, we're going to unify that at SummerSlam, the main title. I might do Adam Cole against Keith Lee at SummerSlam to only have one Money in the Bank contender, but then I'm like, I don't know, so I'm playing around with that idea at the minute. Anyway, so that kind of goes on. Then we get round 2 again, we get Bayley versus Camilla. Bayley gets a win. Then we get Riddle versus Shelton Benjamin. Riddle gets a win. King Corbin versus Sami Zayn. Zayn gets a win. Bobby Lashley and MVP are out, kind of shooting on Cesaro, building up for that match at SummerSlam. Cesaro comes out and hits MVP as Lashley walks off smiling with the belt, because it's just a manager. Lashley's getting that kind of gloating feeling around his character at the minute. Yeah, so Lashley's got that gloating, he's better than everybody kind of feeling around his character at the minute. Then the main event is Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. Becky Lynch gets a win, so she goes through. So next week, Raw has a triple threat match. That's going to be between Nikki Cross, Bayley and Becky Lynch, which is going to be a hell of a match. Then we get Thunder, so Thunder Pro Championship, Gyro versus Kushida. Gyro gets a win, so that was an exciting match. This went on for about 40 minutes, so here it's all about just putting on insane quality matches. Mustafa Ali comes out and challenges Gyro to a match, which he accepts. Then we go to NXT, so we see Xavier Woods there. Rigo is saying this is the start of you building yourself back up to get to that position where you were before. Just building the kind of show, building yourself back up, and I really, really think I could do a lot with Woods when he gets back up there. So then we get his first match, which is Xavier Woods versus Dexter Lumis. Woods gets a win here. Then Dunn is out. He's kind of calling out Ciampa for cheating last week, because obviously Ciampa ended up with a DQ win, so he kept the belt. Ciampa comes out and says, "You do whatever it takes to be the best in NXT, and I done whatever it takes last week, and that's how I got the win." Rigo says at TakeOver Las Vegas, because obviously there'll be a TakeOver before SummerSlam, where we will have Pete Dunne versus Ciampa in a no disqualification match. Ciampa and Dunne agree. Then we get the North American title, Bronson Reed versus Tyler Rust. Bronson Reed gets the win. Early Knight comes out and challenges Reed for the title at TakeOver. Reed agrees. Rigo then announces next week there'll be a battle royale to crown the number one contender for a match at TakeOver, for the women's number one contender for a match at TakeOver. End of show. Then we get a match announcement on social media, which is Bobby Lashley and Adam Cole versus Keith Lee and Cesaro on SmackDown. So we kick off with round 2 first of all. So we get a recap of what happened on Raw, and obviously the recap again for the first rounds. But then it's Ruby Riott versus Tamina. Ruby Riott gets the win. Naomi versus Belair versus Natalya. Belair gets the win. So next week we've got Belair versus Riott to kind of see who's going to be the winner there. And then we get the best of 5 series between Drew and Jinder, which is Drew wins this one, so Drew versus Jinder. Drew gets the win. So it's 1-1 on those kind of series. We've got a few more matches to go, but yeah, this is going to turn into a really, really good show. The US TV Championship match, so for both of them, Damian Priest versus Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens gets a win with help from Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins came out, he attacked Damian Priest, gets Kevin Owens a win, and both of them kind of walk away laughing. They're not trusting each other, but this is going to lead into a match between Damian Priest and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, and it might be even Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins and Damian Priest for the belts at SummerSlam. I don't know yet, but that's just kind of what my idea is playing along those kind of feels. So Priest is kind of laying the arcade Owens and stuff walk off. Then we get Lashley and Cole versus Lee and Cesaro. This ends in a DQ because it's an all-out brawl. The Money in the Bank guys are attacking the champions attacking each other, the Money in the Bank guys attacking each other. It's just this all-out brawl, which the story will proceed in the coming kind of weeks. Then we get the WWE Women's Championship, Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley gets the belt back. Now Io obviously cashed in and got the cheap kind of win last week. Rhea Ripley gets the belt back, but I'm going to build this to SummerSlam as well. So we're going to have Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam, and I'm going to do it in a way that it will be some sort of stipulation match, maybe a ladder, maybe a table, submission, something, Iron Woman match, something like that can really, really show these two great wrestlers. But what I like to do is get the belt off Rhea just even for a week and then giving it back. Rhea's obviously becoming obsessed with this belt, and that's going to be one of her downfalls on how she ends up losing it. Now, I don't know if she'll lose it to Io Shirai again, but maybe she might lose it at SummerSlam. I'm still trying to plan that out. Guys, so that's been this week's fantasy booking. Like I says, there's a lot of stuff. It's a little bit of a slower time within wrestling at the minute because I'm building to SummerSlam. So obviously it's not slow, but it is just like a kind of slower build to SummerSlam. There is going to be a few more surprises. So you're going to, obviously we had Punk. Punk's going to be coming back to do something. My idea was to bring Punk back and have CM Punk go against Adam Cole for the Money in the Bank briefcase, because then Punk and Cole would be like going at it a little bit. Like Punk comes out and says he wants his match again, and Cole was like, "What are you talking about?" They go against each other, and then maybe have Keith Lee against like another, like bring somebody else back, like maybe like have Keith Lee go out. Well, have Keith Lee could do. So if you think about it, Keith Lee could just do. Yeah, Keith Lee could do Cruz and Kofi, Adam Cole against CM Punk. Then you've got The Rock, Roman, which is going to be a Hell in a Cell match. We're going to maybe get somebody else back in, like we'll have Bobby Lashley against Cesaro, which obviously there might be a little cash in there. Yeah, there's going to be, SummerSlam's going to be a stat card for in my fantasy world, and also in the real world is going to be a stat card as well. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's show, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. See you later.